Now, the last step, which is data visualization. We are happy what we saw. Now we like to visualize what we saw or what we have. And that is 10 to 20% of the data analysis. So a data analyst do 10 to 20% of his life on data visualization. How we do it, why it is important. It is essential because it is a part of data analysis, because there are so many data which has similar mean, standard deviation, correlation, but still when you plot, it is totally different. In the left, you see uncom-squatted data, which has similar mean, standard deviation, but completely looks different. In the right, you see 13 data points, which is Datasaurus data. They have similar mean, standard deviation, correlation, but when you plot, they are looking completely different. Even one is looking like a dinosaur. So data, looking into Excel sheet, looking into data is not enough. We need to visualize what they tell. Do they tell something else? How we do it? How do we visualize? One is base graphics, which R has inbuilt. And another one is called ggplot2, which is a package, an advanced package made by Henry Bigman. And because of this package, R also gets so much popular. So first see some base graphs. So base graphs is very easy. You just ask the plot function, and then you define which data it is, and then you say which column it is with a dollar sign, and then it plots you. So you remember, I just rename our new transform data into field data 2, where we have 4 rows we saw. We just did a scatter plot with this command. We did a box plot, which may be statistically for some people important because we look at significance level by this plot. Some people say, I like to bar plot, then you can bar plot. Some people say, I need to see distribution, then you ask for histogram. Now, if we compare with ggplot with a more bigger data, let's say we like to use the main original penguins data where we have almost more than 400 rows of data. And from that data, we try to call a base graphics with histogram. And then for ggplot, this is actually the command look like. Initially, it looks ggplot needs more commands than the base commands. But once you try to publish something, you need more commands for basic rplot, which is too messy. You need 6 lines to plot this left plot. And in ggplot, you just needed a little extra thing to plot in the right, where you have a free legend, you have free colors as well, though you have we have mentioned colors here, but it automatically assigned the color for you. So once you make advanced plot, ggplot is more better. So why ggplot? It's consistent code. You saw I can increase the code a little bit by little, and then it gets more nicer without leaving us behind what has happened. It's flexible. You can remove some part of it, but only thing you remember, you add new command with a plus at the end of the previous line. So previous line, we added a column. We see that in a minute. It's create automatic legends. It's say plot as an object, which you cannot do with base plot. Numerous extension, it is complete a graphic solution right now. And what is the grammar of it? It's basically take your data first, and then you mentioned where it goes, who goes where, which column goes to X, which column goes to Y, and then which kind of plot you want. You want a scatter plot, bar plot, or line plot or something. And then some people say, I like to divide my plot 2 into many plot. Then we use facets, we use stats inbuilt. We can have error bars, standard deviation, so on. We want to have coordinates. Some people like to use as map or something. And we like to have a nice background color, theme, and so on that we can control with grammar of graphics. How we build a graph in ggplot completely out of nothing. So from the very beginner, you need a syntax on which uh, you can keep in mind, and then you can use it. So here you see a syntax. First two lines are important to plot. The rest are optional. You do not require right now, but you can use those for your scientific purpose, for your data, for your field. But first two line is enough to create a ggplot. So what basically here, it is a ggplot command. We know every command starts with a bracket, and then you provide your data, and then a plus sign. It's like a pipe thing. The philosophy is same, but the thing is different. So then you say, I have data. Now I would like to have aesthetics and geometry. So geom function is geometry. You mention it, whether it is a scattered plot or something, and then you mention what is x, what is y here. And that's enough to plot. So let's see how to plot. We need a data. So we ask for Palmer penguins data. They collected, some scientists went to Antarctica, collected 3 species data from different islands, and they measure their beaks, their flipper length, and then weight, and so on. So we attach the data with data penguins. So this command is ggplot, and we provided data is penguins because we just saw we attach penguins. And then you saw a canvas. So nothing is plotted, but data is there. So even though it's blank, but data is already there, but it is not showing anything because we haven't provided any further commands. So let's say we like to have something in X here and something in Y. So we add that in a mapping, and it is called aesthetics. We say in the X, please send the column bill length millimeter, and in the Y, please send body mass in grams. And then it provided. So X and Y was marked for me, and it says their range. It is in gram, it is in millimeter. But still, we do not see any plot. What happened? Because we haven't mentioned what kind of plot we want. We want a scatter plot, we want a line plot, we want a bar plot, so on. So let's say we want a scatter plot. And then we provided that with a plus and geom point. So this part will change based on what you want. So if you say line, then you say geom line. If you say bar, then geom bar. If you say geom box plot, then geom box. Now we see a nice graph where we see length, bill length versus body mass. And we see something like correlation, something. If something going high, body mass is going high. But you want to know which species they are. They are from same species. You want to have another column as a color. So let's add a color in this aesthetics. So color equal to, now we will say species. Now we add with the comma color species. And then we saw which species it is. And this entire line 2 to 4, we can put in geom point as well. It is another style. So people can play with this. Either you can have as it is within ggplot command, or you can have line 2 to 4 within geom point, how it is look like if you have it here in geom point. So it is look like this. Entire, this comes from here. And then if you look at the syntax now you see it is exactly following our syntax, these lines. So my purpose is served. I wanted to show how a ggplot can be made, a publication plot. But you say, I like to show it to my professor, or show it to a conference, or show it to a meeting. How can I save this plot you just created? Then you entire plot, you either assign it to a name, like you saw I assigned in an object. So here we assigned it entire thing to object P, and then we print P with this. You already know this. Now we would like to save it. Some journals may say, okay, your graph quality should be 200 dpi, and then your graph should not be more than 5 centimeter, that means 50 millimeter long, and wide should not be more than 7 centimeter. So then you mention those, and you save it with the command called ggplot. You name it, which name it should be, and the object you want to save. So here it was P, so I mentioned it is P. If it is something else, you need to write it here. And then it produce and save your graphs in your existing location where you are running this R. Or you can define it as well here in this box. You can also save in a base graphics way. This is a base graphics way command. I do not explain it what it is, but you will see this is a common practice. So I am now running quick so that I can finish my presentation. And in the workshop, if you're interested, we more look into that, different aesthetics, advanced plotting, how to combine plots, how to number the plots. If you want to publish, you sometimes need to have many plots together with serial number A, B, C, D or something. How can we do that? Sometimes you need to have stats. Sometimes you need to have multiple plots, bar plots, point plots together. You need to sometimes have colors. How can we will see those in upcoming